I'm going to explain, and because I don't want to screw up anybody on this, channel from listening to what I have to say about investing. Although I think I'm going to give you some good common sense advice. And quite obviously, I pointed out, for instance, technicals work, but watch out for the scams, and also watch out for turn in events. Like, in other words, say this was a resistance point Fibonacci. I don't know if it is or isn't, right? Say it was. How would you know it's not going to go up to the next point? Well, that PMI, Global Manufacturing Index, we noticed that was going down during this period. That could have been an indication. And I'm just going by plain, very simple common sense. Now, I said two things that almost sound like they conflict with each other, but they don't, okay? And I'm not trying to actually, I shouldn't have said it that way, but both things are actually statements that make sense. Now, oil is going up to, it's at 102. It was over 103. It's at 102.79, right? Now, yesterday it was at 102.48, and I said I was scared to buy it, but if you had it, I don't know if it's going to go up. So the best common sense thing is to set stops. Secure your gains, because I personally think it could float down. That was something else I said, okay? But I don't think that would mean it's a sell. Now, how would I know, right? But what I could point out is that you notice oil always goes by drama, geopolitical events. When the news stories are hot, one way, or there's other news stories that come out that there's a slowdown someplace, or the economy looks like it's slowing down because of unemployment levels or something like that, or the Greek debt crisis comes on, then the oil floats down. Now, right now, it looks like the Greek debt crisis is semi-resolved. Now, I don't know why the euro took a hit right here. It should be going, it shouldn't have done this right here. And I looked for news stories within the last hour, and I couldn't find nothing. So there might be something coming out, another hiccup, but maybe not. It could have just been a pullback, because this is a level that you can look historically, the last day, it's probably just pulled back some. It might not be something major. But I want to get very clear on some things about oil and silver, how they relate. They don't actually relate very good in normal times. There actually is a lousy correlation between oil and silver in normal times. There's a pretty good correlation between gold and oil. It's not too bad. But when oil goes on a bull run, usually silver will take off. Usually silver has a bull run there. Now, if you look back, say for instance in this 2008, silver was moving up, then you had the Bear Stearns, it moved down, but still it was still up there. And if you look at the oil was moving up. And these are logarithmic charts, because I was just kind of displaying it had a huge 3 times gain inside of a couple of years, right? Which is a big movement. Now, I stated that, and this is a principle. I mean, it's an economic principle that if oil goes up really high, at one point in time, it's going to crash the economy. Remember, this oil was up to $147 to a barrel, $147 to the barrel, right? It's sitting at right now. It's sitting at 102.79. Okay, it's a big difference, and it might have to go up to that amount of money and stay there a while. In other words, silver might explode because oil is still kind of cheap, and it's got to go on its bull run. Silver and gold might explode along with it. It could. I'm not saying it's going to, but I'm going to tell you what I did. I bet more on USLV, the dangerous fund, right? This one here, I put more money on it. So I'm going to hold it for a while and I'll hopefully get some good gains, because I think silver's on its next leg up. But just because oil went up $2, it was at $100 or $3, it was actually cleared 103. I think, this is my guess, it's a guess, right? But how, I'm base my guess on kind of how things have been going all along, and I almost sometimes think this is played like this for a reason, but it just could be the psychology of the markets. We heard the Straits of Hormuz was going to be closed, right? It was like, they're going to do it. Oh, Israel was talking about attacking Iran, and oil went up to about this level before, 102, 103. Then it floated down. That's why I think it could float down again. Now, if there's more geopolitical tensions, that's not going to happen. It's going to keep going up. But I think that's going to drive gold. And usually when gold goes up, silver follows. And since silver's been kind of low, it's still way too low. Why couldn't it jump up to like 40 or close to it? I don't see any reason why not. It's been over $40 an ounce for a good portion of 2011. So, why not? Why not? But what I'm saying is, say for instance, and these are all hypothetical examples, but just say for instance there's this attack. Well, there is going to be an attack on Iran, and oil goes up to $150 to $200 a barrel. Well, guess what? That probably, I would not know this for a fact, but I would think that gold and silver would have moved up pretty hard by then. They might explode. They might go up fast. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I think if there's a spike in oil, gold is going to go up. But after this spike in oil gets up to a certain point, start watching all the stuff that's going on in the economy. And that's where I think it could drop down silver. So I'm not sure on all the timing of this, but I'm saying in principle, two major things to keep in mind. Oil and silver. When oil is in a hard bull run, a lot of times silver is in a hard bull run because usually oil and gold run together pretty close. Silver and oil don't run together pretty close, but when they're in a bull run, the correlation gets a lot better. But if oil goes up to a certain really high point, the economy can't be sustained, and if it's going to stay up at that high point, that's going to knock down the economy and slow down things. But right now, it's not going to kill it at 102. So, I bet more on USLV. And I'm going to say something else about between oil and silver. I think silver has a hell of a lot more room to run percentage-wise in gains than oil does. I mean, to me, to see $85, $90 silver doesn't seem impossible. But to see $300 a barrel crude oil does. I mean, they're going to be using natural gas left and right then. And I got one of those cars that runs on both of those things, and it's a Chevy. So they better be having that stuff around here pretty soon if this thing goes up to some crazy price on a crude oil. But, that they're not going to use this stuff. The demand is going to go down. But it would take some time to adjust, and that would screw up the economy. And if it screws up the economy, expect all the industrial metals to drop down. But usually also, like I said, while this is heating up, before the economy gets screwed up, people are going to start running into gold. Yeah, I see it's down, right? I mean, it doesn't really, today's events aren't necessarily, the most earth-shattering thing going on, right now. But as tensions arise in the Middle East, they get higher and higher, I expect gold to go up, and then I expect silver to start jumping. Because I think every time gold jumps some, silver's going to jump even more. And that's where we're going to see this correlation between oil and silver, take off together. But I think you probably might, I don't know, it's difficult to say, which one's going to gain percentage-wise more. But if I was going to say, I would think silver has a hell of a lot more room to run fundamentally. Because oil, as I said, they're going to start using natural gas if this thing gets way up. But in the meantime, you might get some serious gains. Now, my safe way of playing, I was using safe. I wasn't using, well, there's options going on behind this. I was using UCO last year when he had that Lindsey Williams protection, and I was going to dump more than half of it if it hit 120. He was calling for 150 to 200. I think he was kind of out of line with those calls, and I was just going by 120 because I figured oil was going to be about 120 a barrel by the end of the year. That's what I thought. So, see, what do I know, right? I don't know. And, Goldman was saying this. I didn't trust that they said it, but they could have been lowballing for all I know. But I was going to get rid of it at 120, most of it. And I didn't. So, and sometimes it's hard to set stops because they stop you out. I mean, that's quite the game. Volatility will stop you out, and you're screwed up. Sometimes you have to think, what is happening? Is this going to continue? So I based my, looking at the political events, I figured it would continue, and I held. But I didn't really want to show too much more income, so I didn't care about what was going to happen. I was thinking I didn't really want to show income, and I'll see what happens by the end of the year. Well, obviously his prediction was a total bust, but and I didn't really lose money. Actually, if I took all the trading costs and everything, well, I guess you could say it's a loss. It was $26 and change. That was the loss. So I consider that pretty much a break even, considering what kind of money was in there. But, it was scary holding this stuff. But I do like these double leverage and triple. I don't know about the triple leverage, and I'm using velocity shares because this stuff can erode a hell of a lot faster. But I am thinking that silver's going to jump up. So when I was talking about silver can crash when oil goes high, I'm not talking about these kind of levels. I'm talking about, 150 a barrel. So that might be what's going to happen. And I'm going to say a couple other common sense things in here. With Iran, you figure there's going to be a war, but you know what? It's not going to be a fast pushover war, probably. Maybe not. And the elite don't know, the military don't know. And I pointed out that example how, they swore up and down after Kim Il-sung died that the North Korea would attack South Korea, and they're flying up Abrams tanks and C-5 Galaxies and all this type of stuff like that, and it never happened. So even the best military doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, quite common sense. I mean, you could talk to all the generals in the world, whoever the best people in the world. They have plans of which way it's going to happen. Does that mean it's going to happen that way? No. But what I think is going to happen, though, is I don't think this war with Iran is going to be over that fast, and it's going to keep pushing oil up, and up. But I think silver might move up even faster. That's what I'm thinking. I think silver is going to move up even faster. It's got a lot more room to run because the demand for oil as it goes up, I mean, the consumer demand is going to go down. It's going to go down. But if it causes at one point in time, that's going to cause, silver to spike very high, and it's going to crash. It's going to crash. But at these levels, this isn't going to cause silver to crash 102. I'm talking about like 150 to 200 or some crazy number like that. That would kill the economy. But maybe silver would be up very high by then. So that is also my strategy for going into USLV. But like I said, I don't know. And I'm trying to apply common sense to a lot of things. So, I think that, like I said, oil, silver also, even at this time, oil was going up. Silver went up a lot. Now, oil might be the better play if you know exactly when this attack's going to occur, because it can have a 20 or 30% move, and silver's not going to do that right away. But who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? You don't know for sure. And but I do think fundamentally and price-wise and percentage-wise price movements, silver probably is going to do even better. But there's going to be points of time when oil is too. Oil is going to do a couple moves that are going to be tremendous. But I don't think it's coming up right away, and that's just my guess, because I heard this stuff before, and it has a tendency to go float up, then tensions go down, because I think this attack on Iran is just a little bit early. That's my opinion. I think it's just a little bit early. But like I says, even if you knew the inside guys in the military and they told you the information, that might not be perfect information because there's a lot of things that can change. And so, and I just want to point out again two things, main things. When oil goes in a bull run, a lot of times silver's in a bull run because gold and oil is pretty well correlated. And when gold starts taking off pretty hard, silver really starts taking off hard. That's really what happens a lot of times, often. Not guaranteed, but that's often the case. If oil goes up to some very, very high level, it can't be sustained because it's going to kill the economy. And as it starts killing the economy, watch that PMI global number. If that thing starts dropping down, it'll kill silver. Now, to actually use these principles on a day-to-day basis, forget about it. These are more like, over some months. Forget about using this type of information on a day-to-day basis because silver can make a little move up, a little move down, and oil can go in opposite directions day to day, quite obvious. Even the metals can go the opposite directions. I mean, palladium yesterday went up 2%, and now it's sitting flat, and the day before that, it went down, when certain things were going the opposite way. So, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, you really can't apply these economic principles. So, that's a whole nother story. But I'm giving you a solid fact that oil and silver will rise together. A lot of times when the oil is going in a very hard bull market, the correlation between silver and oil is pretty good. That's when the correlation gets tighter. The correlation between oil and gold is actually not that bad. It's not between silver and oil, it's not that good. But when oil starts taking off, usually gold starts taking off because there's like global tensions. People are scared, they run into gold. And that's also when silver can take off even harder. But if it gets up to a certain point, like $150 a barrel, I don't know, it could be lower than that. It could be $135 a barrel. Maybe that'll crash the economy or something like it will. It will slow down the economy at some point in time, and that'll bring the metals down, especially the industrial metals. But considering these ratios are still way screwed up, you're looking at platinum at 6%, gold is 6% more than platinum, and the silver-gold ratio is over 51. So that still, leaves a lot more room for silver to move up. I mean, silver should go to about, 32 or maybe below 30 to 1, right, on gold. And it may do it this year. I see why not. And if it does that and gold moves up to $2,500 an ounce or whatever, or even if it moves up to $2,400 an ounce, 30 to 1, that's $80 silver. But the thing I said to watch for is these oil prices and that PMI index. And this is not bad advice at all, because you throw out the drama. Those are reality numbers. The PMI index slowing down a little bit, and oil getting up so high that the economy is starting to really get sluggish. Then and if silver made some crazy gains, get the hell out of it. But I'm not telling you like on a day-to-day basis, because you can't use those principles on a day-to-day. But I do want to say I bought more USLV because I think it is going to be on the next leg up. I don't know if it's going to be next week. I'm going to have to hold it. But I think it's pretty soon. That's what I think.